Ask any person over the age of 25 if life is fair. They will tell you that it isn't fair. Life is not fair. Yeah, we grew up believing that life was fair. I mean, on a subconscious level, we know how life should be. So, of course, we're going to believe that life was going to be fair. But as we grew older, we realized that it wasn't. Life was not what we thought it was. Being a good person doesn't always mean that other people will be good to you. Working hard doesn't always mean that you're going to be successful. Doing the right things doesn't always mean that things are going to work out for you. Life is not fair. You can work very hard and still not succeed. You can do everything right and still not succeed. Some people might not even work hard and become very successful. Some people might do the wrong things all the time and still succeed. That's life. It's unpredictable. Life doesn't come with instructions. Life doesn't have like a formula. It seems like things just happen. So it's not really up to you. Any person over the age of 25 knows that this game called life isn't fair. But what does that tell us? Most people in this world worship life so much that they don't see it for what it is. They tell themselves that even if life is not fair, it doesn't mean that we must change things. It doesn't mean that you must not have a positive mindset. It doesn't mean that you mustn't worship life. It doesn't mean that you mustn't believe that we're having a positive experience. People will tell you that, hey, life is unfair, but yeah, you still gotta do what you gotta do. You know, life is unfair. Get over it. Do what you gotta do. Work hard. Have children. You shouldn't even have time to complain about life being unfair. Just do what you gotta do. A lot of people believe that we just gotta do what we gotta do. We should never stop and actually ask ourselves, hey, where are we? Where are we really? Why are things not fair? Why do we believe that things should be fair and things are not fair? What does that tell us about where we are? If you were in a relationship with someone and they were not treating you right, they were not fair, sometimes you call them and they don't pick up your calls and call you after 5 days because they're not treating you right, of course they're not being fair to you, of course they don't really care about your feelings, they don't really care about how they make you feel. Should you be like, hey, yeah, this person is not treating me the way that I want to be treated. Yeah, this person is not fair, but hey, I'm just do what I gotta do in this relationship. I mustn't ask myself why they are treating me the way that they're treating me. No. I mustn't ask myself if this person is the right person for me. No. I should just do what I'm supposed to do. Shouldn't we ask ourselves what this is? Shouldn't we ask ourselves if this realm is really good. I mean, yes, we've been programmed to believe that this realm is good. We've been programmed to believe that everything that is happening for a good reason. But shouldn't we ask ourselves if really this is a positive experience? Because it seems like no matter what happens, people are going to believe that they're having a positive experience. Like, it doesn't matter what they happen. People literally go through hell here. They'll say, oh, I'm having a positive experience. There's a God who knows what he's doing. Like, nah, but what if we're really having a bad experience here? No, people don't ask themselves that question. What if life being unfair is actually a sign that we're not having a positive experience? So why shouldn't life be fair? Ask yourself the question, why shouldn't life be fair? The problem is that we have been programmed to worship life so much that we don't see it for what it is. Now, the same way that people who believe in God don't see that the God that they believe in, or let me put it this way, they don't see the flaws of the God that they believe in. Like, for example, if you believe in Christianity, you don't see that Jehovah has done a lot of horrible things. I mean, you overlook the fact that Jehovah has done a lot of horrible things. To you, it doesn't really matter. You tell yourself that, hey, he's God. You know, it's God, so he can do whatever. So life can be very, very horrible, but we tell ourselves that, hey, it's just life. You know, yeah, it's horrible, but it's just life. We don't realize that we're being hypocrites, because in relationships, we don't tell ourselves that, oh, that's just how it is. You know, you're in a relationship with a person that you love, that person is not treating you right. You don't tell yourself that, oh, this is how things are. I mustn't mind how this person is treating me. I must just be me in this relationship. The problem is that you don't understand what life is. So you tell yourself that it is good because you've been programmed to believe that it is good. Right? You've been programmed to believe that you are having a positive experience. So even when negative things happen regularly, you still tell yourself that you are having a positive experience. Even when life really doesn't make sense, you still want to believe that it makes sense. You just don't understand what is going on. You tell yourself that, no, everything makes sense. I'm just not conscious enough to understand what is actually going on. So how are you going to understand what is actually going on? How are you going to see life for what it really is if you are not honest with yourself? Because that's you not being honest with yourself. If life is not fair, we should ask ourselves, why is it not fair? What should we be doing if life is not fair? Should we be having children? Should we be telling young people that we live in a world where things actually make sense? Or should we actually be having serious conversations about what is going on? We should be asking ourselves, hey, where are we? Because we still don't know where we are. It's not like we've been told what is actually going on here. A lot of people who tell other people that they should, get over the fact that life isn't fair, believe that they are very strong. That's why they think the way that they think. I'm so strong. That is why no matter what I go through, I still have a positive mindset. But the problem is that you would have that kind of mindset even if you were in a situation where you were truly being mistreated, where you were truly having a negative experience. You have that positive mindset. You'd be like, I'm strong. I'm strong, so I'm going to continue to be strong. I'm going to continue to have a positive mindset. I was watching a video from this guy. Is I think he's a counselor, but he also makes YouTube videos. So yeah, he was talking about life not being fair, and he was saying that yeah, life is unfair, but you have to do what you've got to do. It doesn't mean that you must not have children. He said that he was talking to some, you know, young people who were in their 20s, who were in their early 30s, and they were saying that they don't have children. So it was like, no. It doesn't mean that if life is unfair, you shouldn't have children. There are a lot of people who have gotten their heart broken before, but who still believe in love, who are still trying to, find good partners. They're being strong, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it doesn't like there are good people out there that you can date, even if you've got your heart broken many times before. But the problem is that if we tell ourselves that no matter what happens, we must have a positive mindset, or we must believe that we're having a positive experience, then we're not going to be able to see this world for what it is. You see? If you were in hell for real, like if you were in hell, but you kept on telling yourself that I'm not really in hell. I just have to, get over the fact that I'm suffering and just do what I gotta do, Do you really think that you'll be able to realize that you're in hell? You will not be able to realize that you're in hell because you keep on telling yourself that you must have a positive mindset no matter what. Now, people worship life so much that they don't see it for what it is. That is the problem. People worship life so much that they don't see it for what it is. People worship God so much that they don't see Him for what He is. Doesn't really matter what it does. It can be evil. You can unalive people for no good reason. People are still going to tell themselves that He's good, right? The way that people look at God, like people who believe in God, the way that they look at God is the same way that people look at life. No matter what happens, we're having a positive experience. But what if we're not having a positive experience? What if things really need to change because we are not having a positive experience? We need to be so honest with ourselves that no matter what the truth is, we are able to acknowledge it. We need to be so honest with ourselves that it doesn't really matter to us what the truth is. We acknowledge it. We acknowledge that, okay, this is the truth. It might not be what we want the truth to be, but it is the truth. This is how things are. This is how things work in this reality. So that we figure out what we must do. It doesn't make sense that if life is not fair, we continue to have children. It doesn't make sense. Why should we not focus on making things better in the world first? See if we really can make things better. See if we can really change things in this world. Do we believe that life should be unfair? Do we believe that it's a good thing that life is not fair? And if that's not a good thing, does it really make sense that we should be bringing people into a world where things ain't going to be fair for them? Where they will be confused and not even know what to do because life is not fair. Life is so unfair that yes, it can work. Things can work out for people who are not even trying. You find that this person is not even trying to make things work out for them, but things just work out for them. And there are people who are really, really trying, who've been working hard, who have not been sleeping, trying to make things work out for them, and things still don't work out for them. We must ask ourselves what that tells us about life. Should we be very optimistic if success doesn't always comes from hard work? If success doesn't always come from hard work, we should ask ourselves what that means about life. If there are people who are being mistreated because they are different, we should ask ourselves what that tells us about life. It really doesn't make sense to me that we'll mistreat people who are brought here without their consent just because they are different. That doesn't make any sense. That tells us something about this realm that we're in. I don't think we need to get over the fact that life is unfair. I think we need to ask ourselves why. Why life is unfair. Why a lot of people are suffering. We should ask ourselves if there is a human who actually deserves to suffer and why they deserve to suffer. I don't think that there is a conscious being that actually wants to suffer, that actually thinks that it's a good idea to cause suffering or to love suffering. There is something that is off about this realm that we are in. And for us to understand what is going on, we need to be honest with ourselves. We mustn't be biased towards life. We must see everything for what it is. Ask yourselves what our experiences even mean. I don't think people are doing that. And that's why a lot of people are in denial. That's why even when bad things happen, some people say, yeah, everything is happening for a good reason. That's being in denial. It's people who have been programmed to be positive all the time who are in denial. And they believe they're very strong. They don't realize that people who are honest with themselves are honest with themselves because they want to understand how things really are. It's not about being weak. If you are in a relationship and you see that you're not being treated right, and you say, okay, this is not making sense to me, it means that this is a bad relationship for me. Let's try to change things. Maybe things will work out. Or if we can't change things, then maybe we should not be in a relationship anymore. Maybe we should just 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 be people who know each other. We can talk sometimes, but we shouldn't be in a relationship anymore because it's not working. Maybe we're too different. Maybe we view things differently. That doesn't mean that you're weak. Some people might tell themselves that people who leave their marriages are weak, because there are people who have been fighting hard for their marriages even though their marriages weren't working. Like, sometimes we need to be honest with ourselves. So we need to ask ourselves, what does life being unfair even mean? What does it even mean that we are having this experience that we are having? That doesn't really make sense. Doesn't it mean that we might be in a world that actually needs to change, and we must focus on changing things first before we even bring more people here? We shouldn't be bringing people here as if the world that we're bringing them into is actually good, because that's what we tell ourselves. It'll get to a point where everyone is suffering and we keep on reproducing, right? It'll get to a point where, like, every sentient being is suffering and we're reproducing. It'll get to a point where we're in hell for real. We're burning, like, it'll be like we're in pain 24/7 and we're still reproducing because we've been programmed to reproduce, and we want to be positive and we want to be strong. Even when we're able to see that, no, but something is off. Something is completely wrong. Things are not making sense. People should be happy, bro. I keep on telling y'all that us improving technologically doesn't mean that life is working, all right? We must be happy. We must be excited about life. You must look back at your life and smile. Be like, wow, what an experience. You must smile. You must be happy that you've went through the things that you've went through. Things must make sense. If things don't make any sense, we must ask ourselves why things are not making sense. What does that tell us about where we are? We need to be asking ourselves that question. We know that happiness is important. Happiness is that important. You cannot tell people that happiness isn't important. What is important if happiness is not important? Are we here to torture ourselves? Are we here to just suffer and do what we are being told we must do? That's it. Is that the purpose of life? That we just do what other people are telling us to do. We don't do what we want to do. We don't do what makes us happy. We don't live fulfilling lives. We just lie to ourselves about our experiences. That's what the purpose is. Everyone knows that they don't want to do things that do not make them happy. I mean, everyone is trying to avoid suffering, right? The reason why we do anything at all is because we're trying to avoid suffering. So if we are suffering, even when we're trying to avoid suffering, we should ask ourselves why we're suffering, even though we're trying to avoid suffering. You're going to tell me that people are just lazy, people are not doing what they need to be doing. No, people are working hard, people are trying, I know a lot of people who do not have jobs who would work hard if they got jobs. They don't know what to do. They don't have ideas. They don't know what to do. They've been programmed since they were young to work for other people, and no one is employing them. Because people believe that they must have a 9 to 5. That's when they'll be able to survive. They don't have any other ideas because of how they've been programmed. So they don't know what to do. You look at them and you see that, well, this person doesn't even have any skills. Like, that's like this. They need to get employed for them to be able to survive. But no one is employing them. So they're suffering. They're just suffering. If more than 60% of young people are unemployed in a country, we must ask ourselves what that even means. If money is important in this realm and more than 60% of young people are not making money, we should ask ourselves what that actually means and how they should be feeling. I'm telling you, people are not happy. People are not having a positive experience. They are just being strong. Don't you kind of feel like your whole life you just had to be strong? Like things weren't working out and you just had to be strong. You just had to be positive all the time, even though things weren't making sense. No matter how hard you tried, things never made sense, so you just had to be strong. That should tell us something about this reality that we are all experiencing. We mustn't be like, hey, yeah, life is unfair, but it doesn't mean that we mustn't do the things that we are being told that we must do. Like, no. We must ask ourselves why it's unfair, why things do not make sense. Why don't we understand anything? Why does it seem like everything is upside down? We need to try to understand why. It is important so that we will make the right decisions. We will know what we need to do if we ask ourselves the right questions. But if we don't ask ourselves the right questions, we're going to keep on making unnecessary mistakes that are going to keep the cycle of suffering going on. We must be honest with ourselves. No one asked to be here, so life being unfair is a bad thing. All right? If you decide that you're going to gamble, you know that you can lose. You know that just because you bet with a lot of money doesn't mean that you're going to win. You know that there are some people who can bet with $10 and win millions, and you can bet with $100,000 and lose. You know that it ain't fair, right? That ain't fair. But it's you who have decided to play the game. It's you who have decided to gamble. So that's understandable. Even if you lose, that's understandable because you are the one who loses. You are the one who consented to the whole thing. No one forced you to gamble. You are the one who decided that you're going to gamble knowing that you can lose. But if you bring a child into this world who didn't ask you to bring them into this world, knowing that life isn't fair, knowing that they can lose even if they do things right, how sure are you that you would have done the right thing? And why do you believe that you have done the right thing? If life is unfair, you know that it doesn't really matter if they work hard. It doesn't really matter if they are kind. It doesn't really matter if they are good. They can still fail. Things can still suck for them. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. You don't know the challenges that your children are going to face. We're not in control here. So shouldn't we try to understand what life really is, how life really works, and actually decide if it really does make sense that we are bringing innocent people into a world that we don't understand? Or in a world that doesn't make sense? I mean, if we understand, because I think a lot of people don't understand, this world. But I think that if people really understood this world and understood how it really works, they wouldn't really have a positive mindset all the time. Like, people will be more honest with themselves and they will make decisions that actually make sense instead of lying to themselves. It's only the truth that's going to set us free. We need to be honest with ourselves about religion. We need to be honest with ourselves about school. We need to be honest with ourselves about work. We need to be honest with ourselves about relationships. We need to be honest with ourselves about inequality, success, love, knowledge. We need to be honest with ourselves about everything. Why do we love some people? Why do we hate some people? Why do we believe that some people deserve better lives? Why do we believe that some people do not deserve to have good lives? Why do we believe in the God that we believe in? We need to be honest with ourselves about everything. That's how we get to the truth. That's how we get to understand what we need to be doing as people to actually make things better. People are lying to themselves so much that it really does suck, man. This is not a fair game. And I don't think it is fair to make someone play a game that you know isn't fair. I mean, how do you even advise them to play? What are you going to teach them if the game that they're supposed to play isn't even fair? Just because this is the only game that we know doesn't mean that we must force people to play. Just because we've been programmed to feel good when we make other people play. It's kind of like this pyramid scheme thing, like where you have to recruit more people to be part of something that you know is a scam. Say, when you recruit a lot of people, you make a lot of money, and you're like, okay, let me recruit more people so that I'll make a lot of money. It's kind of like that, even if you know that it's a scam. But you are interested in making money, and you do want these people who are you have recruited to recruit more people so that you will make more money. You see, you are only thinking about yourself. You're not really thinking about them. And you might tell yourself that you've recruited them because you love them, because you know them, because you want them to win. But really, is that the reason? I don't know. We need to be honest with ourselves. Why do we do the things that we do? So that we understand ourselves better, so that we'll understand other people better. Why do we feel like we must recruit more people? Why do we think that we must bring more people here? Do we feel like we must bring more people here because we love them? Or we want to love them, we want to benefit from them? It's not like you don't have a child because you already love that child. It's not like if you don't have a child at all, it's not like you love that child that you're going to bring into this world already. No, you want to bring a child into this world so that you will feel these emotions that you want to feel, so that you will feel good, so that you feel like you I don't know, you belong here. You are like everyone else because everyone else, is having children. And that makes you feel good. So it's about you feeling good. Like when you have sex, you're not having sex because you're a good person. You're having sex because you want to feel good, right? You're not having sex because you're like, I want to be a good person and I want to bring a child into this world. You're having sex because you want to feel like that's the reason. And you have children because you want to feel good. You want to feel these positive emotions. The same way that if you had to recruit more people to make money, you'll be recruiting these people so that you make more money. Like the reason for recruiting them is to make more money. It has nothing to do with them. You don't really, you might tell yourself that you care about them, but the reason why you care about them is because you are making money off them. You see, so the reason why you care about your kids is because they make you feel good. It's like it's about you. Just like I've been telling you that we do not love other people for them. We love them for us. It's about how we feel. It's about how they make us feel. So if a person makes me feel positive emotions, I would say that I love them because I feel positive emotions. You see? So it's about me. So it isn't so different from recruiting more people and making money off them. Because the reason why I'm recruiting them is so that I'll make more money. If recruiting them meant that I lose money, then I wouldn't be recruiting them. If having children, and this is very important, this is so damn important. If having children meant that I'll be unhappy, would I have I'm not gonna have children, but if having children meant that you would be unhappy, do you think you'd have children? Ask yourself that question. If it meant that you'd be unhappy, do you think that you'll be having children? You knew beyond any reasonable doubt that you'd be unhappy if you had children. So ain't you having children because you want to be happy? Like there's no other reason. It's not like you're having children because you're like, hey, it's a good idea to have children. No. It's about your happiness. You want to be happy. The same way that if you were recruiting people to make a lot of money, you'll be recruiting them so that you make a lot of money. You want to make a lot of money. That's why you're recruiting them. It's not because you care about them, right? So you are having children because you want to feel good. It's not because you care about them. Right? If you having children didn't make you happy, you wouldn't be having children. Be like, no, it doesn't make me happy, so why should I have children? You see? Like we need to be so damn honest with ourselves so that we'll make the most logical decisions. So that we'll understand life better. Because it seems to me that people don't understand life. They don't understand what anything even means in this world. No matter what happens, they will tell themselves that it's good. No matter what happens, the worst things could happen. They cry and be depressed for years and they'll still tell themselves that whatever happened is good. No, we still don't know what this is. So it means that this place could be this place could be anything. Life could be anything. So we need to be as honest as possible with ourselves so that we will understand what life really is. Without honesty, we're never understanding what life is because we follow people who are already winning, people who are having a good experience in this world. And these people are not going to tell us that we're having a bad experience because in their direct experience, things are good. We look up to people who are, doing very good. It's like if you're a Christian, your pastor is doing better than you, right? Your pastor is doing better than you. You listen to your pastor. When your pastor sends you somewhere to do something, you listen to your pastor. So that means he's doing good. You're giving him money. That means he's making money. You're buying him cars. Things are working out for him. So he's going to tell you that you are having a positive experience because he's having a positive experience. So it's up to you to be honest with yourself. So it's up to you to be honest with yourself about the experience that you are having. Does it really make sense? You don't listen to what the people who are doing better than you are saying. You ask yourself if this whole thing is fair and what that actually means. Like whatever you found out, what does it mean? If it's fair, what does it mean? If it's unfair, what does it mean? You need to trust yourself. You need to look at the world like a solipsist. Right? You need to trust yourself. You need to trust your judgment. But that requires intellectual honesty. If you're not honest with yourself, then you shouldn't trust yourself because you're not honest with yourself. But if you are honest with yourself, yes, you should trust yourself. If you have nothing to lose by embracing the truth, or you're not afraid of suffering for embracing the truth, then you should trust yourself. Now, there are people who will never be honest with themselves because they are afraid of they're afraid of the truth, right? So they would rather tell themselves, like, you can lie to yourself and not even like have big problems because you're lying to yourself. You can tell yourself anything, man. You can tell yourself that if I pray to this tree, something good is going to happen in my life. And you choose to only focus on the good things that are happening in your life. And you tell yourself that it's because you are praying to that tree. Like you can believe anything. You have to understand that. As a human, you can believe anything. And there are so many things that you believe because the people who came before you made you believe these things. So you believe these things fully. Because you can believe anything. But if you are real, if you are honest with yourself, then you should trust yourself. You should trust your judgment rather than trusting other people. You live in a world where people are being manipulated. So you shouldn't trust other people just because they seem to have a positive mindset. Because people are being lied to in so many different ways. People believe nonsense. The fact that we have many religions in the world, that tells you something about this world. It shows you that people ain't really looking for the truth. They're just looking for comfort. Some people are defeated so much that they can't even think. There are people who don't even think. No matter what you tell them, you can tell them things that make complete sense and they still won't understand you because they don't think. That's what you must realize. So you must trust yourself if you are intellectually honest, if you really care about the truth, other than believing that you must have a positive mindset no matter what. You must believe that you are having a positive experience no matter what. You must believe that you must do what everyone else is doing no matter what. Maybe you need to do things differently. Maybe you need to view life differently. Like, hey, be having kids because you're gonna reach the age of 50. Do you want? I remember that guy was saying that. Do you want to be that aunt who doesn't have children and you are playing with other people's children? Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't be scared to be that kind of aunt. You shouldn't be scared to be that kind of uncle. If you don't think that it's a good idea for you to be having children, you mustn't allow other people to force you to have children because they're, emotionally blackmailing you. Like, oh, you're not going to be happy when you're older. You don't want to be that grandma that doesn't have children. You don't want to be that grandpa that doesn't have children. Like, no, you can be happy, actually, even if you do not have children. In fact, some of y'all will feel much better when you're older. If you do not have children, like you feel much better, like you feel 10 times better than you feel now. You would know that no one is having this weird experience because of you. And you would have detached yourself from a lot of things So you won't really be, caring that much about a lot of things. As you get older, I think you start to care less. When I was 21, now I'm 31. When I was 21, I used to care a lot about a lot of things. I used to care what other people think of me. I used to care about how other people are looking at me. I used to care about how I look, my dress code, how I speak. Like, I used to care about a lot of things, but now I don't really care, man. Even when a person, you know, judge me, I'm like, hey, it is what it is, man. You can say what you want to say about me. You can think what you want to think about me. Like, I don't care. But there was a time when I used to care. Now I'm able to record videos, walking around without minding what another person thinks of me. I'm like, hey, it is what it is. You can think what you want to think. But at the age of 21, of course, I would have been scared to record videos. I would have been scared to post videos online expressing myself as honestly as I can. But now I don't care. And I think not caring is a sign of intelligence. Because really, you shouldn't care what other people think. So if you still care what other people think, it means that you have some work to do. Like, you might be intelligent, but you still have some work to do, really, because you shouldn't care. It's not like there are people who really know what they're doing. Some people are just going to judge you because you are different. Some people are going to judge you because they're threatened by you. Like, damn, this person is different. Some people are jealous. You have to understand that. Some people just don't understand you. So it's all good. Be you. Life comes with no instructions. Live your life the way that you want to live your life. I respect people who are authentic, people who are unique, because they are courageous. You can't be unique, you can't be authentic if you are not courageous. So these are the people that I truly respect, because they have real courage. But people who constantly lie to themselves because they're trying to fit in, people who pretend, to believe things that don't make sense because they're trying to fit in. Nah, man. I don't really respect those kind of people. I respect honesty. I respect vulnerability. I respect truth. I respect originality. People ain't original. But yeah, man, we should ask ourselves what it actually means to say that life isn't fair. What does that actually mean? What does that statement even mean? And what should we be doing if life is not fair? Does it mean that we should be like, okay, it's unfair, and we should just get over everything and just do what everyone else is doing? Is that what life not being fair actually means we should be doing? Be like, hey, I'm just going to do what everyone else is doing. I shouldn't be asking myself any question. I know that it isn't fair, but I'm just going to keep doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Or that means that we should stop and actually think and ask ourselves what our purpose here is, what we really need to be doing, how to make things better in the world, not just for us, but just in the world in general. How do we make things better in the world? Do I make things better by having more children in a world that is already unfair? In a world where people do not have jobs for real? Where people don't even know what they should be doing to make money? Where some people are forced to be criminals to make money? Does it make sense that I'm bringing more people into a world like that? How do I even justify that? The lies that we've been telling ourselves made us weak. We've been making mistakes because of the lies that we've been telling ourselves. We don't know how to be strong. You're not going to grow unless you accept the truth and what it means. You're not growing if you tell yourself lies. If you see what the truth is and you still tell yourself lies, you are not growing. You are going to suffer for lying to yourself. So you have to choose your suffering. Do I suffer for standing for the truth, or do I suffer for lying to myself? If you stand for the truth, you suffer now, but later you're not going to suffer that much. If you lie to yourself, you don't suffer that much now, but later you're going to suffer. Is it? So you need to be completely honest with yourself. I don't know any person who's never paid for lying to themselves. Like, everyone gets to pay for lying to themselves in the end. You know? If you are a Christian and you are sick and you don't want to go to a hospital because you believe that Jesus is going to save you, in the end you'd have to pay for not taking medicine because you believe that, you know, there's this being that's going to save you, even if there's no evidence that this being is there and he's going to save you. We've seen a lot of people pass away because they believe that there was this being that's going to save them. Remember, there's this video that I watched of this dude who decided to approach some lions because he believed that God was going to protect him. So he started praying for God to protect him, and the lions just attacked this nigga because why shouldn't they? You know, lions are lions. They don't believe in any religion. So the lies that we tell ourselves are going to make us suffer in the end. Because it gets to a point where we don't even realize that we're lying to ourselves. I mean, maybe in the beginning we kind of like realize that we're lying to ourselves, but it does get to a point where we've lied to ourselves so much that we don't even realize that we've been lying to ourselves. You see the problem? So we need to be as honest with ourselves as possible, and, you know, to lie to ourselves, because you suffer whether you lie to yourself or not. So it's much better to suffer for the truth than to lie to yourself. See, when you lie to yourself, you actually make other people suffer because you're not being strong. You see, it's the strongest people that are able to minimize suffering. It's the strongest people who are able to minimize suffering because they will do the right things to minimize suffering. But if you're lying to yourself, you're not going to know what to do to minimize suffering. You'd have children in hell. Like, for real. You'll be in hell. Like, if the Christian vision of hell existed, you'll be in hell reproducing. Because you're not honest with yourself about your experience. You'll be like, yeah, I'm banning and all that, but, you know, I just got to make a deal with some of these demons and, you know, I'll be fine. And you make deals with these demons and, you know, they treat you better than they're treating everyone else. And you're like, oh, that means that that's what we got to do. You know what I mean? Like, what's happening is unfair, but we just got to do what we got to do. No. Doesn't mean that you got to do what you got to do. You need to be honest with yourself, figure out where you are, and figure out what you need to do. You see? So you being honest with yourself is better than you lying to yourself. You telling yourself that people who are speaking the truth are just weak is better than, it's worse than you telling yourself the truth, which is that, you know, people who are speaking the truth are just more real than you are. They're just more honest than you are. They just understand more than you understand. It's only the truth that's setting us free, man. I'm telling you. It's only the truth. Nothing else is setting you free. There isn't anyone who's going to come and save you. It's the truth that is setting you free. No one cares enough to try to save you. I don't think there's a God out there that actually cares enough to save us. It's us who need to save ourselves. So we need to understand how things really work so that we will be able to save ourselves. We're not saving ourselves by lying to ourselves, trust me. Every lie that I've ever told myself, I've suffered for it. Every time I lied to myself, in the future I suffered. So I might have enjoyed lying to myself at the time that I was lying to myself, but in the future I suffered for lying to myself. That's what you must realize. You're going to pay for your lies. If you are married to someone and that person don't love you and you don't know that because you are lying to yourself, you're going to pay in the end. You're going to pay for lying to yourself. If you have chosen the wrong career for you, you're going to pay for lying to yourself. So you need to be honest with yourself and suffer now. In the future, things are going to be better for you because you've been honest with yourself. That's what you must realize. Thank you all, guys.